It is the end of 2013 and the start of 2014, and I'm going to bring you my favorite books of 2013 and what I'm going to be reading in 2014. So I only read 35 books last year, and so I'm not going to give you 13 books that are my favorite because that would just be ridiculous, and that's almost half of the books that I read. So I chose 5. The books aren't in any particular order. I didn't want to come up with an order because honestly they're all equally good in my opinion. The first book that I have is Divergent by Veronica Roth, and this is probably not a surprise to any of you, and I am absolutely in love with this book. It's just, Tris is so brave, and it's just so action-packed, and the story, it's mind-boggling how good that this book is, and this is her debut novel too, so I'm completely blown away by this book. I love seeing Tris's transformation from basically, you know, a normal person like us to stepping up and being the brave girl that she needs to become to survive Dauntless and to survive, you know, this world that she's living in, and leaving her family, and all of that is just so amazing to see her transformation in this book. And the love story between Tris and For is just, it's beautiful. The next book I have is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is probably one of the first contemporary young adult novels that I've read, which is really crazy to think about, but I'm speechless with this book. This is the first John Green novel that I've read, and he is just amazing. He's an amazing author. Like, these characters are just so, Hazel and God, I can't even remember the boy's name, but their love story is just, it's not a sad book. It's a book about cancer, but it's not a sad book until the very end. But these characters are funny and sarcastic and witty, and it's a very cute, funny, real book. And it's not super sad, and it's just, it's so amazing. I just can't get enough of this book. The next book I have is Legend by Marie Lu, and I know I'm very late on the bandwagon for this book. I know the third one has already come out, but I have a review of this book up already if you want to check that out. I can't say enough good things about this book. It's action-packed. The characters are intelligent and funny and real, and the world that she you know, Marie Lu makes in this book is amazing. The government is horrible, like most dystopian novels. The pacing of this book is like a rocket. It just goes uphill the whole entire book, and you don't stop till you get to the end. This would make an amazing movie, and I absolutely adored this book, and everybody should read this. The next book I have is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. This is probably the second contemporary young adult novel that I've read behind The Fault in Our Stars, and it's really starting to get me into liking contemporary novels, and it's this book, the feels that it gives you, oh my gosh. Etienne St. Clair, oh, I can't even, he's just so amazing. I wish he was my boyfriend, and oh god, there's just this book is just so beautiful. Anna, she's amazing. She's funny. She's sarcastic. She's adorable. She's normal. And Etienne is like the perfect boyfriend. St. Clair, he's amazing. Anyways, this book, you know, goes over a year of her being in France and at a boarding school. And these two characters fall in love, and it's through their journey of, you know, realizing that they're in love with each other. And Stephanie Perkins, oh my gosh, her writing is just phenomenal. She gets every single teenagery thing correct in this book. I mean, when I was reading this, I felt like I was a teenager again. I felt like I was falling in love for the first time because she got every single little detail correct. And, you know, the thing that's popping into my head right now is the movie theater scene. Oh my goodness. If you've read the book, you don't know what I'm talking about. It's just amazing how correct she got this book. Everybody should read this book. The last book that I have is The Vampire Academy by Michelle Mead. I don't actually have a copy of the book because I bought it on my Kindle, and this book is so cool. Rose is so amazing. Oh my gosh, she's so amazing. She's so badass. Seriously, she's like the coolest character that I could ever have read in my life. She's just so amazing. And the concept of this book is extremely original. The vampires are completely different than any other vampires that I've ever read. The only thing I can compare it to would maybe be the House of Night, but the Vampire Academy book was like 10 times better than the House of Night books, and it's just incredible. It's so cool. Like, I love the characters, I love the story. I can't say enough good things about it, and I'm extremely excited for that movie. Okay, so now for my 2014 bookish resolutions or goals. I did not set any last year. The only thing that I did was set a goal of 36 books actually, and I didn't even make that. I only read 35. I want to do that again this year. I want to read at least 3 books a month and hopefully more. I want to ultimately try to read 1 book a week. I know I can read that because I've read 8-9 books in a month before without any problem. It's just, for me, I kind of go on a reading binge and then I don't read for like 2 months after that, which is a problem. I have a ridiculous amount of books that have been sitting on my bookshelf for, I can't even tell you how long, 2-3 years, that I have not even touched or looked at in 2 or 3 years. So one of my biggest goals this year is to read 1 book a month that has been sitting on my shelf for a ridiculous amount of time. I also want to start reading more classics. The only classic that I think I've read was The Great Gatsby, and I read that last year, and I actually really liked that book. I'm sure I've read a lot more in high school, but I don't even remember reading them in high school. I want to read at least 3. Maybe I can read more. I don't know which books I want to choose yet. I have some books on my shelf from school, so I'll probably get to those first. So I have quite a few series on my bookshelf that I just haven't got around to finishing, and they've been out for a while. I can name a few for you. The Percy Jackson series. I read this book so many years ago, probably 2 years ago, and I didn't read the last book. This is The Last Olympian. I have not read this book yet because when it first came out, or when I first read this series, this book wasn't out yet, and then it came out in hardcover, but all of my books are in paperback, so I didn't want to buy it until it came out in paperback. But by that time, it had been like a year later since I read the series, and I just haven't gotten the motivation to finish it yet, which is kind of ridiculous. I've started rereading the series like 3 or 4 times now, and I can't even get through the first book. Even though I love this series, I need to finish this series this year. The next one is Reached by Ali Condé. I read Matched and Crossed forever ago, and I picked up this last book, Reached, and I never read it. And I need to. The next one is Requiem by Lauren Oliver. I read the Delirium series forever ago, and I picked up this book, and I still haven't finished it. And there's just no excuse. I really need to finish these series. The next one I'm giving myself a little bit more leeway on because I've actually only read the first book in this series, and the last one just came out like a couple months ago, so it's not really that big of a deal, but it's the Divergent series. I haven't read Insurgent or Allegiant, which is really crazy because Divergent is on my 2013 favorite books read. So you'd think that I would have wanted to read these last 2 books, but I just haven't gotten around to reading them. So those books I will definitely be reading in 2014. I definitely need to finish those series because I need to know how the stories end, and I've had them for forever. Okay, so my last goal / resolution is to not buy any more books. I can't believe I just said that I'm not going to buy any books in 2014. Oh my god, I can't believe I just said that. The reason why I'm doing this is because I have way too many books on my shelf that I have not read, and I don't really have much more room on my bookshelf, and I need to read the books that I already have, and I've spent way too much money on books this year, so hopefully I can stick to it. I can't really make any promises, but I am really hoping I can stick to that. The only exception that I'm giving myself is I just got a Kindle for Christmas, and I actually already had the Kindle app on my phone. So the only exception is if the Kindle book is like really cheap. So I get like, you know, those Kindle daily deals. I don't know if anybody gets the emails, but I do. And I've gotten a ton of books on there that were ridiculously cheap, like $2.99. I think I got the first 2 books in the Under the Never Sky series on my Kindle for $2.99 each. I got all 5 of the Game of Thrones books for $9.99 on my Kindle. I've gotten quite a few books on there that are like really popular books for very cheap through the Kindle daily deals and the monthly deals that they have on there. So that is the only exception that I'm giving myself. It's gonna be very difficult. I hope I can do it. It's kind of crappy because I know that there's probably the last book in a series, in quite a few series that I own, coming out this year. So I don't know how well I'm going to stick with it, but I'm gonna try. Yeah. So what were your favorite books of 2013, and what are your bookish resolutions for 2014? I would love to hear them. Put them in the comments down below. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.